Episode 3A of Star vs. the Forces of Evil Season 2 is Star on Wheels. Marco teaches Star how to ride a bike, and that's more or less the episode in a nutshell. Sorry, that's the best synopsis I can come up with. What more do you want? Alright, fine, we'll dive straight into the analysis. How about that? It's your typical plot of Star adapting to life on Earth and realizing that Muni and Earth don't always work the same way. Woohoo, big deal. Actually, that's not all. The other thing I'm getting out of this episode is that maybe it's supposed to be a lesson on trust and faith for both characters. Just for the record, trust and faith are two completely different things. Look it up yourself at your own leisure. For Star, it's learning to trust one of her closest friends on Earth no matter what comes her way, and for Marco, it's learning to have faith in that which he has not seen. There's just something about the whole blind faith thing that rubs me the wrong way. I'm not implying that having faith in general is inherently bad, and I'm not gonna bite anyone's heads off for having some sort of religious faith, but... oh, you know what? F it. I'm not even gonna go there. Point I'm trying to make is this is a little too Disney-ish, and I know it's weird of me to say that to describe a Disney cartoon, but this show is supposed to be a parody of the magical girl genre. Yes, it's fine to include tropes and conventions from the genre that is being parodied, but the point of a parody or satire is to mock these tropes and conventions or deconstruct them. That's not to say that some tropes and conventions can't be played straight, but this one is just too out there for this show's good. Remember Brave, the Pixar movie that was advertised as a subversion of the tropes and conventions established by Disney princess films, and then when you went to see it you found out that, oops, it plays those tropes and conventions straight. It's the same case with this episode, which is kind of disappointing because the biggest selling point of the show for me is the parodic nature. Oh well, the episode still remains salvageable, mainly from the small Easter eggs it throws at us. The most obvious is the pair of wings that Star got during puberty, which she would use to get over the giant sinkhole. There's also the reveal of Oscar Greason's eyes, but I don't know how important that'll end up being, if it ever does become important. And in a way, I guess the giant invisible sheep that appear through one's faith in them. Who knows, there might be a similar phenomenon that might happen in the future. We'll see. I just hope that the writers take these hints as far as they can take them. In the end, Star on Wheels doesn't offer much that we haven't seen before, and what it does offer is somewhat removed from the foundation that the series is built on. It isn't completely bad though. It was still fun in some areas, and the Easter eggs are a nice way of making us speculate what's to come in future episodes. It gets a 2.5 out of 5 from me. Episode 3B is Fetch. At Echo Creek Park, Star is driven up the wall by her mother's constant calls on her magic wand. She then takes her mind off of the calls by playing fetch with the laser puppies, but throws her wand by mistake, which is then retrieved by a stray dog who refuses to give it back. For a season that's been built up to be more continuity-driven than the last, we've been getting a lot of low-key outings lately. Like the last episode, this one isn't really bad, there just isn't much going on here. The plot boils down to Star attempting to take her wand back from the stray dog, and I guess a running gag with Marco trying to jam a straw into his juice pack. For God's sakes, man, just poke a hole into it with a knife or something, anything will do. But I'll admit that the moment at the end with Star and the dog, who she names Willoughby, was pretty nice. It's almost like a reverse Ocean Gem from Steven Universe, with Star playing a similar role as Steven and Willoughby being an antithesis of Lapis Lazuli. Instead of yearning to go back to her home, she's escaped from it and all the misery it's caused her. Characters like Willoughby and Lapis can be compared to a refugee trying to get away from the conflicts of war. They just want things to go back to the way they used to be, or, as far as Willoughby is concerned, they just want to lead a normal life and leave their previous life behind them. Good God, maybe that analogy is a little too dark. The episode kinda lost me when it came to its moral. I think it tried to convey the message that each and every one of us has their fair share of problems, and it's better to face those problems directly than to run away from them. Okay, so Star explains this to Willoughby, but Willoughby finds her problems too great to deal with, which is why she left her dimension in the first place. And even though Star was the one to give this piece of advice, the episode closes off with her ignoring yet another call from her mother. Like, what the hell? Girl, if you don't practice what you preach, why should I give a rat's ass about the wisdom that you have to offer? Very, very weird way to close things off. Fetch is okay for the most part, but this growing amounts of filler is starting to worry me. What it does right are showing a more compassionate and understanding side to Star through the scenes of her and Willoughby, and a few pretty decent jokes like Marco struggling to drink his juice. What it messes up is the poorly executed message. It's for the sake of a quick joke, I know that, but it doesn't really bode well for Star's character development. Isn't this season supposed to have more of that? Development? As in character development and world building? I thought it was. I give Fetch a 3 out of 5. I hope to God that there was a point behind that wonky as moral. Perhaps there is. We're about to find out once we take a look at episode 4A, Star vs. Echo Creek. While having lunch at a Mexican restaurant, Star decides to pepper her burrito with large amounts of sugar, and that works out for her as well as you'd think it would. After accidentally destroying a cop car, and after Marco tells her how much worse Juvie is than St. Olga's, Star begins a life as a runaway. Oh, so that's the entire point. Touche, writers, touche. Isn't it funny that this episode and Fetch are just beside each other in broadcast order? Darren Nefsey, you magnificent bastard. Going back on what I said about Star not practicing what she preaches, all things considered, I can understand. She's only 14 years old. She's still somewhat inexperienced, and her inexperience is more pronounced since she's on Earth instead of Muni. The many slip-ups she's had during her time on Earth are usually cartoonish in nature and tend to be played for laughs, but destroying the police car is her first mishap that has any real weighted repercussions behind them, and it's rightfully played for drama, though it still doesn't lose its comedic edge. I like this. For the moment, there's no world building whatsoever, but this is the character development that Star badly needs. And after 2 or so episodes now of her character going nowhere or not going far enough, it's all the more refreshing. For all the aspects of Earth life that Star learns about, the one aspect that she hardly grasps, or we don't see her grasp that much, is the gravity of her actions, especially as an interdimensional being on Earth. It makes her more vulnerable compared to if this sort of turn of events were to unfold in Muni. It plays up the fish out of water idea better than an episode like Star on Wheels does because of how much closer to home the cop car incident is. But the fact that she's still in possession of her wand is an oversight. If she wanted to, she could have used it to make everything all better. But if that were to happen, then we wouldn't have any kind of rousing drama now, would we? And there's a guest appearance by Yvette Nicole Brown, whom you'll know as Helen Dubois, the movie theater manager from Drake and Josh. What's the matter, honey? Nickelodeon not cutting it for you anymore? In all fairness, I won't put it past you, seeing as Nickelodeon's live-action programming nowadays has been nothing but a steaming pile of ass droppings. Star comes to the epiphany through a hallucination of a sea serpent that being away from her friends and family isn't doing anyone any favors. She then turns herself over at the Echo Creek Police Department station where Marco has been waiting the whole day. Daww! Starco, 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 Starco. Okay, I'm done. Star is not punished for destroying a cop car that, according to the ECPD, had been decommissioned, but is instead sentenced to community service for fleeing an incident as a key witness. Filler as this episode may be, it's the good kind of filler. What, you didn't think filler could be good? It can be, if it contributes something significant. Star vs. Echo Creek is dramatic and fleshes out its key characters well. This is a step in the right direction for the series, and I hope that low-key episodes turn out this nicely in the future. I'm going to give Star vs. Echo Creek a 4 out of 5. Starco, 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 Starco. There, it's finally out of my system. Time for episode 4B, Wand to Wand. Star and Ludo are having a bitch of a time coming to grips with their respective wands. Now this is more like it. Here's the world building we've been sorely missing in the past 4 episodes, and it's lots of fun. We get a much appreciated in-depth look into the nature of the 2 wands and a glimpse into the full extent of their power. Ludo's wand draws from his anger and hatred, while Star's wand resonates mainly with her compassion and sense of justice. And when both of them exhibit qualities contrary to who they are, their wands have a different reaction in that they work against their wielders rather than for them. I think we all guessed that since both wands each have one half of the star-shaped crystal, they are connected in some way. Divided they are strong, but as one they are a force to be reckoned with. So it's almost like the principle of duality is in play here, sort of like yin and yang. The idea that every element in the world, hell, the whole freaking cosmos, has a counterpart. Day and night, earth and sky, sun and moon, black and white, left and right, male and female, light and darkness, good and evil, yada yada yada. But judging by what the episode has shown us, this may not be 100% correct. Both wands are very volatile, and they seem to be indirectly affecting each other, like when Star uses her wand to clean the Diaz home, which leaves Ludo helpless in the Tavern of Rats, and vice versa. When Ludo puts his wand to use, it results in Star's wand creating a bigger mess in the Diaz home than what was already there. And going further into that, I'm guessing that once both shards reunite, the whole duality theme could be scrapped completely. One element might overtake the other and determine what the new wand will be like. It's an intriguing idea that the writers need to play around with as much as possible, while us viewers at home cook up our own individual headcanons. I'm calling it right now. The climax of this season will see Ludo and Star vying for the other's Star Crystal Shard, and whoever emerges victorious will have unspeakable power in their grasp. I'd say out of these 4 episodes, 1-1 is the best of them simply because it contributes to the construction of the show's universe more than the others. The scene with Ludo getting his vengeance on the rats for their bullshit on him was awesome, and shapes him up to be a much better antagonist than he was in Season 1. Though I was hoping that Star's side of the story involved more than cleaning up the Diaz house, but since there aren't even any one-off villains for her to face, we really don't have much of a choice. 1-1 is a 4 out of 5 in my book. Yes, I'm aware that this recap is long overdue and I apologize for that, but my time management isn't what I would call the best. It's downright dismal. Regardless, I'll do my best to upload the rest of this recap in a timely manner since I do love this show and I've been keeping a close eye on it. With that said, stay tuned for the next part of my Star vs. the Forces of Evil Season 2 recap and my next huge project. What is it, you ask? You'll find out in due time. I'm the one and only C.R. Martin, signing out for now. See you later.